What's up, guys? It is I, the Chancellor, Caleb Betterton, and man, I don't know. You don't have a clue what I go through, okay, to put on this podcast. All right, I have recorded this episode. This is my fourth time, okay, because I don't know what's happening, but there's demons in the podcast studio or something. Tech demons, whatever the saying is, I don't know. Okay? But we keep on having technical difficulties with the camera and whatever it is, all kinds of stuff. And I am sitting here trying to give you the content you deserve. And there is a reason, okay, I'm the chancellor of the podcast world. That I am the chancellor, Caleb Betterton. Because I will not quit. I will not give up. I will give you this episode, okay? I'm going to give you the content that you've been craving for. You've been calling me and begging me for. I'm going to give it to you. I will not give up. And I'm fired up right now, man. I am telling you, this past weekend was incredible. And for those of you who don't know, one of the greatest historical events happened this past Saturday night. Despicable. Despicable. USA. 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 That's right. The US beat Canada 3-1 after the Canadians booed our national anthem. And let me tell you something, brother. All right, there was a time in this country, maybe close to less than a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when this country, when that hockey team, our USA All-Star hockey team, would have just taken it like a bunch of chumps. But it's a new day in America. It's a new day. Oh, yes, it is. Call me Kofi Kingston because it's a new day. All right? Let me tell you something. America's back. America is back. We got our moxie back. Do not tread on me. That's what the USA hockey team said last Saturday night and said, don't you dare boo our national anthem. We're going to start fighting. We're throwing hands. We're going to beat you with our fists. We're going to beat you by putting pucks in the net. And that's what they did. They destroyed Canada. They embarrassed Canada after Canada despicably booed our national anthem because of what's going on in politics with tariffs and stuff like that. But it's quite amazing, actually, when you look a little deeper at the way culture shifts and culture changes. All because of leadership. Again, go back a few years, and this is not, I guess it is a political statement in a way, but we don't get too political on this podcast most of the time. We know Donald Trump has told Bible stories on our podcast, you know. Only us. Go check out those episodes, like early on in the episodes, the ones that are really bad. But hey, Donald Trump made him better telling his Bible stories. But it's quite amazing to see how culture changes. You know, when Donald Trump first ran for president back in 2016, it was very divided on Donald Trump. It was very division, a lot of division there, a lot of differences of opinions, caused a lot of chaos. And he had his presidency, like what kind of changed your thoughts on him. But then COVID hits, and people kind of wanted that boring, normal life again. And that's what Joe Biden ran on. Back to normalcy. That was his kind of campaign structure. And he really didn't do that. He just kind of brought us back to depression and boringness. That's what he brought us back to. And so when Donald Trump ran again this year, it was kind of a surprise to see him win the popular vote. But honestly, kind of looking at American culture right now, we're really seeing a big influx of this, of patriotism once again. You know, Donald Trump dance at NFL games, the way that he's kind of taken over the culture once again. He's kind of become the cool guy, the cool leader once again. The culture shifted. America is back. America is becoming great again, and more than in just policy-wise. The culture and the mood of America has shifted. And it's because of Donald Trump. It really is a big part of the responsibility of that has fallen on him. Because the truth is, our leaders affect us, affect our culture, affect our attitude, affect our mood, and making it more relatable to us as leaders. How we act, what we push, the vision we push, affects those who we influence. And Joe Biden kind of brought everybody down. There wasn't a lot of fun with Joe Biden. But with Donald Trump, there's that moxie. Like it or not, there's that swagger. There's that old video back in the day of that high school football team who lost a bunch of games. They won their first game in like a long time, and that kid's like, I got my swagger back. And America has gotten their swagger back. We have a chip on our shoulder once again. We believe in ourselves once again. We lost confidence there for a little while, but because of leadership, we've kind of got our confidence back. You can't boo me. Do you know who I am? Oh, you don't? Well, let me show you real fast. Catch these hands, and we're going to beat you 3-1, which is a blowout in hockey. It's pretty amazing, actually. All because of leadership. And what kind of leader do you want to be? What kind of influence do you want to have? Do you want to inspire, or do you want to bring down? That's the question. For me, I want to be someone who influences this generation and challenges this generation become something greater. To be the generation of Davids. To be more than they are now. That's part of our focus as the gist. To entertain, but challenge you. To become something more. To become something great. Donald Trump has shifted the culture. Will you? So another event happened over the weekend, and that was Valentine's Day. Now I hope all you fellas out there didn't forget, first of all, because I didn't forget. I was on my game this weekend, guys. I was awesome. Okay? Kudos to me, because I did not forget. Now it's my first one being married, so I kind of had to be like, it's on the mind. I had to kind of ask me like 5 years. We'll see what happens. But as for right now, I was on my game this past weekend. It was great. We went out to eat that night with some friends. Came back home. I had the house decorated. It was great. The next day went to Texas, kind of impromptu, and then we came back home with another like fancy date to our sweetheart social at our church. Great time, amazing time. But while we're in Texas, I get to try something that I've never tried before. All right. Now I gave you guys my burger list a few weeks ago, and I was trashed by Heidi for it. So whatever. That's how you know my list was great, because if Heidi doesn't like it, you know it's good. That's kind of how things work when it comes to Heidi and me. If she hates it, you know it's good. If I hate it, you know it's wrong. This is how life is. That's how it's supposed to be. So take that, Heidi. Because I know you listen to this at some point. And she hated the fact that I had 2 Sonic burgers on my list. Now, I got to try In-N-Out Burger over the weekend. So now my list may have changed. Now, I was kind of worried that In-N-Out would be kind of like Five Guys and be overhyped, because it's very hyped up by a lot of people. I had never had it before. Pull up, I was impressed by the smallness of the menu. It's 3 options. I like that. Simple, easy. Give me the burger. Give me the double. Meat, bread, cheese only. Give them to me plain. No veggies, because veggies are gross. Caleb does not eat veggies. I don't eat them. Don't give them to me. I don't want them. They're disgusting, despicable, and gross. You got that? And so I get it with some fries and a cherry Coke. Yes, I took a break on the challenge. I'm sorry, guys, over the Valentine's Day weekend. I had to, because of love, okay? Blame love, not me. Anyway, we'll get back on track here this week. I get the burger. It looks good. Price is great. Super cheap. I was impressed with the price off the bat. Take a bite. And I was like, okay. Mr. Double Double. Mr. In-N-Out Burger. You just made the list. And so I put it on my list. And sorry, Sonic Double Cheeseburger, you're gone. Smashburger, you remain. You're still there. You're still safe. Now, I will say this: the the smash burger was good. The smash burger was good, but sorry, my wife's asked for money, so give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. Gotta give the wife some money. That's what being a husband's all about, is giving your wife money. For those of you who don't know, we give her this money to wifey pay. That's why I'm married, guys, because I pay her. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Also, kind of quick side plug here. You're gonna get a bonus episode of the podcast here in a few, probably next week actually, where me and my wife actually sit down and talked. I know, amazing, right? On the podcast, and kind of give us some insight on our dating life, our marriage life, our advice, our thoughts. So if you're interested in that, listen up. Next week, bonus episode coming out with me and the wife. Learn more about her, so stay tuned for that next week. But back to the burger challenge. Off the list goes the Sonic Double Cheeseburger. And on the list, at number 3, pushing back the Brahms Burger, is the double In-N-Out burger. It was fire. I will say, it was good. It was delicious. And I do, for sure, recommend it. But, their fries were kind of mid. And that disappoints me. So, overall, In-N-Out, I'll rate it probably a solid 7.2. Yeah, 7.2. Alright guys, so recently I taught at our Connect meeting with our Rose State Club on Rose State College about some lies the enemy tells this generation, some lies the enemy tells the world, some lies the world tells us, and I want to confront and expose those lies on the podcast as well. I feel like it's fitting for this generation, and I feel like it's important for this generation. And we'll get maybe more into depth on some of these topics in our Study to Know series coming up here pretty soon, when it comes more to the details of like science and stuff like that. But one of the first lies that the enemy tells us and the world tells us is God didn't make you. There's a big push in the 90s, kind of before that too, but really in the 90s was really pushed, a big push back against the Christianity and how science disproves Christianity. And as time went on and more research came out, that kind of thought process kind of disappeared. There's a lot of good books out there. One I'm reading right now called, I think it's, what's it called? The Case Against Evolution, or I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put them on the podcast here pretty soon actually. But kind of exposing some of like wow, someone's banging on their bass right now outside my apartment. Okay, wow, that was insane. My whole body shook for a second. It's incredible. So, and comes against those lies, and we'll probably go more in detail. Oops, I might just fell too. Into that later on in another episode. But it kind of got blown up, and so over time, the way lie is told has changed when it comes to God did not make us, but the lie is still there. But the truth is, God made you. And really what's happened recently is they've kind of got away from explaining how we were created, and more that we were created wrong, that we were a mistake. It says in Genesis 1:27 that God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And with those things comes purpose. It's important to remember and to know that God created us. In his creation of us, being made in his image brings us purpose, but also that we're male and female gives us purpose. But in today's world, the lie is that we're a mistake. That there are no guidelines to us. There's no boundaries to us. You don't even have to be a male. If you were born a male, you don't have to be female. If you were born female, who cares what the gender line has been broken? But yet God created us male and female. That's the truth. We're made in His image. And when He made us, He gave us a clear purpose to be fruitful and to multiply. And that comes from the male and the female identity that He made us in. And so what the world does is it lies to you and says that you can change your identity. You can be made in whatever image you want to be made into. God didn't create you. But you can create yourself how you want to create yourself. Whatever gender you want to be. This is real. But in that process, what that lie does is it causes chaos in your life. It causes you to lose out on your purpose. And while you think this is going to make me fulfilled, this is going to make me whole, you are already made in God's image, which makes you whole. And you were created male or female for the purpose of being fruitful and multiplying the earth, which brings fulfillment, which brings joy, which brings hope, which brings things to you that fulfills you and guides you. But the lie says you can create yourself in whatever image you want to create yourself into. You can twist and manipulate yourself all you want to. And that's okay. Because you know what's best. But it's a lie. God made you. And in fact, in Psalms 139:14 it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. Not only were you made in God's image, male or female, you were made wonderfully. You were made fearfully. You were made beautifully. But the lie is you weren't. The lie is you're a mistake. The lie is you gotta change the wonderfulness that God made you in. And you think, well, it's maybe even more wonderful, but it doesn't. It just brings more emptiness because you're getting away from the purpose. You're fighting back against God's image. You're fighting against who you actually are. From a lie that's saying that who you are is who you are. And that's a lie. God's made you. But it's a lie coming against this generation. But the truth is God made you in His image. And He made you wonderfully. Male and female. He created them. The next lie is God doesn't know you. There's a big movement of people who think that, yeah, there might be a God out there. But if there is a God, He doesn't care about men. He doesn't care about us. He may have made us, but then He kind of abandoned us. But that's a lie too, because Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. God formed you, and He knows you, and He's appointed you. You've been formed, known, set apart, and appointed. God knows you, and He wants you to know Him. In Psalm 139:1 it says, you have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out, my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. But we have to be familiar with His ways as well. He desires a relationship with you. He knows you, but He wants you to know Him. He's formed you. He knows you. He set you apart and appointed you for something. But it takes you saying, all right, God, you know me, but I want to know you. And building a relationship with Him. That's part of why He made you. The next lie is God is against you. Really, the truth is God is with you, but kind of the way that the world comes against you these days is through loneliness, anxiousness, and fear. But Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You don't need to fear. You know, I talked to a young lady over a year ago now, actually, and she told me that she wanted to have kids, but she was afraid to because of climate change. She was letting the fear of climate change stop her from fulfilling part of her God-given purpose. And it blew my mind, honestly. But she was letting the fear and the anxiety that the world was pushing on her and pushing against her, that says that the fears of this world are bigger than God. But God is with you. Fear not, it says, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed. I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you, and I will uphold you. In Deuteronomy 31:8, it says, "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Don't fear. Don't be dismayed." Sorry. There's no reason to fear. He has a plan for you. And if God has given you a purpose and a plan, and it knows you and has something set aside for you, why be afraid? Don't be afraid to fulfill God's purpose for your life. Don't be afraid to pursue God's purpose for your life. Because the world's saying be afraid. The world's saying be anxious. But God's saying, I am with you, so don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed. I am going before you. It says in Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." He's with you. Don't be afraid. Don't let the lie of the enemy come in and cause fear to stop you from becoming God, all God has called you to be, because He is with you. The last lie is God doesn't love you. He just wants to condemn you. You know, I heard a lot of people talking about that they think God's this judgmental, oppressive, evil being. When the truth is, He wrapped Himself in flesh. And He knew you were sinful. But He died for you anyway. Why? Because He loved you. It says in Romans 8:35, "Who can separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or the sword?" Jump down to verse 37. "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loves us." We overcome things through His love. Through Him, because He loved us. It says in verse 38, "For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor demons, neither the present or the future, or powers, or height, or depth, or anything else in all creation can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus, our Lord." The love He has for us overcomes all. You can't mess up too much. He still loves you. He loves you no matter what. Nothing, it says, can separate you from His love. All you have to do is say, "God, I need you. I need to feel your love." Today, this world wants to sell you things, sell you fake love. It wants to manipulate you and think that things that aren't love, aren't going to bring you love, will bring you love. But the truth is Christ is love, and that love can come down from him and truly bring you peace, truly bring you joy, truly satisfy you. When all this world does is offer cheap counterfeits. But he loves you. Today you have to realize the lies of he hasn't made you, he doesn't know you, he's not with you, and he doesn't love you are simply that. They're lies. And the truth is, God made you. God knows you. God is with you. And most importantly, God loves you. Alright guys, welcome back. As we wrap up today's show, do not forget to hit those show notes below and click all the links. Right now what we're doing is we're trying to grow our YouTube page up a lot. We're posting every single podcast on YouTube, usually a day or two after the audio version drops. So what you should do is subscribe, because that lets you know when the new episode drops on YouTube. And our goal right now is 100 subscribers. Right now we have 42. Let's get to 100. Help us get there. Go right out of the show notes and go to the YouTube page and subscribe. But before you do that, make sure you are subscribed to the audio version of this podcast, the follow button, the 5-star review, and let us know what you think. What's your top burger? What's your this? What's your that? Spotify, Apple, both of them have comments now, and both have reviews now. So leave us that 5-star review on the audio. Check out our social media pages. We're dropping our clips there now. But also, guys, please help us grow this YouTube page up a lot. Really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. The reason we do this thing. And again, we're going to entertain but challenge this next generation, because we are the gist. Bye.